Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Wright, and today we're going to talk about the 2011 Tohoku earthquake. We're going to examine the when, where, why, and impact of what happened. We're going to talk about the loss of lives that were impacted, as well as the agriculture and the buildings. So I want you guys to start your day by this. I want you guys to imagine, let's just say you slept through the whole earthquake, right? You slept through the earthquake, you slept through the tsunami, you slept through everything. You go outside, and this is what you'd be seeing. Yes, all four of these images are real. The building on the right, where you see the boat clearly just on top of a building, right? The buildings on the left, where everything's flattened, everything's submerged. These are all real photos, and these are all scary real photos, right? That's what happens with this whole. That's what happens with these earthquakes and tsunamis. Is they just created carnage and chaos everywhere. So the reason I wanted to preface the photos earlier is because I don't think people realize that there was a tsunami and an earthquake that happened, right? The photo on the left gives you a very good detail of what happens, like kind of on a smaller scale, which is you can see obviously the buildings getting destroyed and the buildings, no, I mean, just getting destroyed, the boats there, all of the things are gone, right? But if you look at the photo on the right, that's the result of a tsunami, right? Everything's flooded, everything's submerged. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a little road here on the photo to the right. But I mean, you can't drive on that. This whole area is just useless now. You can't build there. You can't do anything there. So people don't understand that there was a tsunami that was just as drastic, if not more drastic, than the earthquake itself. Now we're going to talk about the when and where this happened. This happened March 11th, 2011, and it was off the northeastern coast of Honshu, Japan, and about 43 miles or 70 kilometers off of East Sendai of Japan. If you guys look at right here on my cursor, that's where the epicenter of this earthquake was. So that's just kind of shows you how far away this was and how big this was. 43 miles away, and it just happened. And it happened to just come inland. Sorry. Now we're going to talk about why this happened. So basically what happened is that there was a rupture in the subduction zones between the Pacific and North American tectonic plates. Guys, these tectonic plates are huge. Okay, these aren't like little rubber balls that they can run into each other, collide, and nothing happens, and they just bounce off each other. What ends up happening normally is the Pacific plate, because it was denser, forced and pushed the North American plate beneath it, right? These two plates, they can't run into each other and just have such no impact, right? And that's what happens with this earthquake, is that the damage from this, because it's just a tectonic plate literally pushed another one underneath it, right? And these collisions are always catastrophic, or normally catastrophic, almost I'd say like pretty widely resulting in earthquakes. So now let's talk about the human impact and loss of life. So confirmed dead was about 16,000, and missing was about over 2,500. So I want you to think about this way though, is that's about 18K almost. Let's just round up. Okay, let's just say 20K. That's 20K people almost directly affected by this earthquake. However, that's not mentioning the people that friends, loved ones, right? So the friends and the loved ones, right? This could easily have impacted over 40,000, 50,000 people, right? Forgetting everyone that just lives in Japan. Now we're going to talk about damage to infrastructure, because one thing that doesn't get brought up enough is that, yes, okay, so we brought up how it could have impacted like 40,000 people, right? 20,000 directly. Well, what about the buildings, right? This whole area right here, everything in this photo you guys are seeing, this land is just wasted now. This is all flooded, right? You can't build here, right? Unless you want to turn this into a shipping yard, right? You can't build here. You can't do anything here. So all of this land got destroyed. They lost over 100,000 buildings simply due to this earthquake. Now let's talk about the kind of impact on the market and farming. Because of the agricultural lands got destroyed, supply chains lost, and it was harder to get groceries because people would go in and grab and be more desperate to grab groceries, right? And what ends up happening is that if you can't farm right, when a tsunami comes in, destroys your crops, destroys everything, you can't give farms to the market. The market can't sell that. You don't make money. The farm doesn't make money. The market doesn't make money. So the suffering was just on an all-time high from this, especially when it came to selling food. Now we're going to talk about the government strain, right? They had to totally re-prepare for the disaster preparedness. And there was even a protest over the Daiichi nuclear power plant. Long story short, the Daiichi power plant was a power plant during this. It ended up getting destroyed during the tsunami, and they ended up wanting to fully get rid of it over all this. So now we're going to talk about the environmental shift. The whole land got torn upside down. The whole land got torn upside down, and there was a displacement of it. So some areas, right, like as in the photo you saw earlier, that whole land got flooded, so you couldn't use that anymore. So yeah, and some areas probably got scraped dry. Now we're going to talk about the buildings. Obviously, if you look at the buildings on the bottom here, that's an isolated that was meant to kind of be able to contact and take care of. That was the building that's kind of meant to contact and take care of shaking, right? Because other frames would just get ripped out of the ground. But yeah, I mean, these buildings were made to defend it better, forgetting about the cross bracing and the sheer walls, the concretes. So yeah. these are my sources, and yeah, thank you. Take care.